Welcome my friends to YCM. Now, standing inside is a good friend of mine, my buddy Rick. Now, Rick is third generation here at YCM, and he's taken a special moment of his time, his precious time, and I'm so grateful to give us a tour inside. Now, on top of that, it just so happens to be a time of the year when distributors from around the world are here getting tours as well. So we're gonna try our best not to interrupt or be rude to any of these folks, but we wanna bring you some of the latest technology from YCM in this area. So follow me inside where we can learn a little bit more about the history, maybe some of the awards, and for sure, the machines that we have going on. And this is the young man, Rick. I was just telling you guys about Rick. How are you, my friend?
Great, Tony. How you doing?
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here with you and that you've taken your time out for the audience today and for me to share a little bit more about the history and definitely some of these beautiful machines you have.
Of course. I just want to show you around and also talk about our family and business. We started in 1954 with my grandfather and my uncle. Back then, it was very industrial revolution here in Taiwan. So we started with repairing industrial equipment back in 1950s. That was during the Industrial Revolution in Taiwan here. Then we started developing a packaging machine, and it started becoming popular. So we started having a need for casting for these packaging machines. So that's when we started with our foundry. We invested in our foundry. We invested in our oven, and from our 1-ton oven. But then the oven, we couldn't keep it running enough, so we had to go to making more of the machines. So that's when we developed milling machines.
And that's part of the evolution. I didn't realize your foundry was that old, Rick. That's incredible.
Yes. That's how it all started. And that's why in 1969, we started moving to a new factory, a larger factory in nearby. It's about an hour away. And that's how we started. And we started building manual milling machines, 1.5 and 16 VS milling machines. And we started exporting into the U.S. and we took off from there.
You've definitely taken off. To my understanding, you have around 500 employees, 650 employees, 700 around. I mean, the number keeps growing. Every time I talk to someone, like, we keep growing, and you're focused now on 5-axis machining because you've been worldwide known for this 3-axis superior product, right? And now we're going to focus on AI. We're going to focus on 5-axis, and we get to show the audience out there some of the machines here today as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the fundamental of 5-axis is you have to have a stable machining condition, and that all starts from the casting itself. And that's why we have a foundry. We have to maintain the quality of the castings to make sure that the casting is stable, and that's why it translates into a better accuracy on the 5-axis machines.
I almost want to teleport to the foundry right now, but don't worry, there's a video with Rick coming very soon in the foundry. We're here right now, but we're going to head over there in a bit. Rick, I really enjoy learning about this facility because when you first, or when your family first invested in it, this land was somewhat empty. But as I look around, the size of this facility, now you can't hardly expand outside of it because everybody is here. But you invested in an area that was smart over 70 years ago and have continued to expand.
Yeah, back then there was the road was small, there was nothing around, it was all farmland. I think my grandfather, my uncle took a bold move and invested in this area, and that's really helped us grow today. And I think right now we still have capacity to grow.
Yeah, you do. And as we walk through here, we're going to talk a bit more about the family legacy, but I want to start here as we look at some of these parts. And I believe we're going to start with the concept and the idea of automation as a whole. Now, automation, from what I've understood traveling around the world, is originally it was, I'm going to automate if I have thousands of parts, right? And now we're getting into this high mix automation, these pallet change system like you have to the far right, which we'll touch on in a little bit, but the ability to run nights and weekends, even if we have a one-off job or 20 one-off jobs, this is the automation of the modern times, isn't it?
Yeah, so definitely with automations, it has to be integrated with a done-in-one process with 5-axis. It allows customers to use less people, and you can run lights out, and with automation combined with the 5-axis technology.
Rick, it's not every day I get someone with your wisdom on camera. So while we're talking on the subject of done in one or one and done, and we call it different things in different areas of the world, I call it done in one. Where do you think the importance lies when we're talking about, if I'm making this part right here, or let's say the finished one here, and I no longer have to move it from machine to machine, and I'm reducing not just labor or footprint of how many machines I need,
Right.
or maybe scrap rate, but the overall productivity and efficiency that goes into a shop to know that I can take a piece of raw material and when it comes off that machine, it's a finished part. The investment in a machine like this, the investment, while the upfront cost might be a tiny bit more,
Right.
the end cost is so much more savings, and we're really producing more, making more money at the end of the day, aren't we?
Of course. I mean, with 5-axis, you don't have to, like Tony had mentioned, you don't have to move the parts around, and that affects the accuracy of the parts if you have to move the parts around. And of course, your floor spacing and the people you have to hire to run the machines. So at the end of the day, definitely the 5-axis is the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Let's navigate around this group right here. We're gonna do our very best not to interrupt the presenters. They're doing such an amazing job. So we have to slide through. It's kind of fun, Rick. How many people are here today, by the way?
Well, I think we have 100 dealers and customers here visiting us today.
100 dealers and customers. How many countries are represented?
We're present all over the world.
All over. You
all
guys
over the world.
are all over the world. Now, something I think, and I'm not sure if this word's okay with you, but we use it a lot in the U.S. that I think is sexy about machining, Rick, are these machines here that don't have the covers on them. It's like the machines got naked for me, and I like it. Can we talk a little bit, like, this is one of my favorite style machines, Rick. Can we talk about the development through YCM with these machines?
Well, when we started developing this machine, we wanted to understand what the customer needed. That's more important. And the most important thing about the 5-axis today is the workpiece, the maximum workpiece. So we basically designed this machines around what the customer requirements are, especially in the semiconductor, aerospace, and dynamo sector. And that's where a lot of the 5-axis, where it's most efficient for these industries and these type of machining parts.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they're actually really cool too when you see them spin very fast. But let's go back to you've been talking about the foundry for a while, and I like that topic as well. And we can tap on this and we can feel the vibration dampening and the quality that goes in when you have your own foundry integrated just around the corner. But when you mentioned 3 areas where, in my opinion, some of the most precise and necessary to be precise industries in any part of manufacturing, die and mold pops to the top of my head. How important is this area right here that you make in-house?
Definitely, with the casting is definitely very important in a 5-axis machine because we're dealing with volumetric accuracy, right? So you have always the thermal deformations of the machines, and you have to have a good structural design and good castings, and make sure that the memories of the castings are removed so that you have a stable process.
Let's talk a little bit more about this accuracy, and then I'm also going to bring up the fact that I believe you do a little hand scraping here as well, which is going to add to that accuracy also.
Of course,
They've actually asked me, did you grab B-roll of that? Which of course we have to, but let's talk about the accuracy. Now, when I'm working on a 5-axis machine and I'm this close as I get to the camera, this close to my part, but when I have to be this far away from my table, and that accuracy starts to expand, that's where the complications start to come in, right? And that's what you're paying attention to. That's the reason you brought it up.
Yeah, and that's why we have to focus on the geometric accuracy of the machines, and that's where the scraping comes in. We have to scrape the machines to achieve the maximum geometric accuracy. And so that when you translate into volumetric, we're at the optimized accuracy as possible.
Yeah, that's exactly, I mean, that's a great explanation. And have you ever done hand scraping yourself?
And when I was young.
You're still young, by the way. I've done it too, very poorly. I will not say that I'm even close to a professional. In fact, I think I threw a hip out when I tried to do it, but I've done it as well. And it's so important to the foundation and how everything's put together. I want to talk a little bit about, as we're coming to the end of all of these group tours, the audience may or may not have noticed, my cameraman did a great job of parting the Red Sea over there. But as we're coming to the end of this, and we've talked about 5-axis machining, the importance of automation, the foundation and the foundry, the overall precision that's required. Let's talk a little bit about the future of YCM. We've talked about over 70 years, the growth of the company, the expansion around the world, all the people you have here, but we're getting into AI now. We're getting into a brave new world that some people are afraid of, but we have to adapt to because it's moving quicker than a lot of us can keep up with at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the Industrial 4.0 revolution, you have to start with standardization, then you get into visibility, transparency. But right now we're going through a stage where we're doing optimizations and automation. But the future, of course, is predictive and adaptive, which is the AI. And that's where we're heading towards. And I think that's the technology, where the technology of the future is to help customers to use as more efficiently, to make a part more efficiently as possible with less manpower. And that's have to be driven by future technology and AI.
Well, I've heard great wisdom from you, and I've heard it from other places as well, that one of the biggest issues right now is a labor shortage, skills gap. So you said it best, it's becoming more efficient, it's figuring out how to do these things, it's adapting to this modern technology. If you had one message before we move on to one of your other amazing areas in this massive facility here in Taiwan, one message for the audience right now who's considering leaning into working on the YCM machines, and I know you have thousands of customers around the world that can also give testimonials. I've interviewed them also. But a message for someone who's learning, maybe considering their first YCM in their factory right now, what kind of message would you give them as they see so many people interested behind us?
Well, YCM is all about quality, it's all about stability and reliability. We recognize that in the future you have more automations and you want to have as little downtime as possible on the machine. So that's what we're focused on. We want to focus on the machine continues to run, on the reliability, and so that you can automate.
Yeah, very well said, my friend. Thank you so much for taking your time today. And to them later, thank you all for watching. We have so many more different areas of YCM here in Taiwan, the largest machine tool company in all of Taiwan, and I can't wait to show you more.